Today on the channel from the Hasbro Lightning Collection, we've got morphed Michelangelo and morphed April O'Neil.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another Power Ranger Lightning Collection Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossover via Hasbro. And today on the channel, we've got April O'Neil and we've got Michelangelo. But for all your Power Ranger needs and a whole lot more, hit up Zavi. Use discount code Kyle Peterson to save 10% and 20% off of clothing. So today, another incarnation. We've unboxed the first 2-pack. We've unboxed Shredder. We got this one, and we got one more to go with the old foot soldier. We'll get to that eventually here on the channel. But today we got the morphed April O'Neil. We got the morphed Michelangelo. And of course, we're going to do it like we normally do it. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And I always say at the beginning of these, you guys know I'm all out of the Hasbro Lightning Collection Power Rangers. I am dabbling in the monsters, and I will sell those when Super 7 does make theirs. That's what I got to justify. I can't justify to myself to have two different Power Ranger collections. And I've hitched my wagon to the Ultimates because there's not as many figures, a little easier to keep track of. And I do like the Super 7 Ultimate figures. So hitched my wagon to those, got rid of my traditional Power Rangers. When I do get the monsters that Super 7 decides to make, like Finster, for example, I'll probably sell that Hasbro Finster down the line. But this set here, I justified it to myself as I have a lot of different crossover Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. I display my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a different place. These are great kind of sub-collections as there's not a ton of figures. This is pretty much it as far as I know. So it's kind of a sub-line in a line, and it's really cool. It's a cool crossover. Cool enough for me, and that's how you justify it to yourself. And we got to justify everything to ourselves in this day and age, it seems like. But let's take a look at the packaging on this one first. Now, this one is a little bit of a messes with your mind a little bit. Now, whenever, I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same as me, you see yellow Power Ranger, you immediately think female. Well, I don't think Michelangelo in yellow, but that's kind of the weird thing with some of this crossover here. We talked about it in the Donatello Leonardo pack. The color combination is not lining up. It just really does mess with my head a little bit. And Michelangelo being a yellow ranger just doesn't sit right. But there was no Orange Ranger back then, so you can't really do that, so it's a mess. Then April O'Neil as the Pink Ranger, I guess does kind of make sense. It would have been cool to see Michelangelo as the pink one, and maybe April could have been the yellow, but I think they said, pink's too girly, we gotta give it to April O'Neil. April O'Neil getting her just due, I guess, finally. Now, this Pink Ranger here is very interesting because for the longest time, the Pink Ranger Lightning Collection figure was very difficult to get. Since then, it has been released. It's been in a couple different 2-packs incarnations. But for a brief moment in time, I could see people that don't care about the Turtle crossover picking this up just for this body, which still could be a possibility with some people. But, of course, you do get the extra heads with Michelangelo and April O'Neil you can switch out. But really, this looks like a straight-up Pink Ranger for sure. Once again, got to get the most out of your molds, and Hasbro's not messing around with some of these Power Rangers. We've seen these molds re-released time and time again, and the line's only been around 2.5 years, something like that. But cool artwork here. I always love the artwork. Hey, you look at it sideways, and it looks like a full-on body. Same there with Michelangelo. Just still can't figure out him being a yellow ranger. Just seems strange to me. Got their names, got the Hasbro Lightning Collection, all that kind of fun stuff. Power Rangers, Turtles right there. Power Rangers over there, and of course the characters. A little lightning bolt separating them there. UPCs on the bottom. And in the back, no blurbs, nothing, no cross-sell, not a lot going on there, which you guys know I love a cross-sell, so I do think that is missing right there. And then more warnings down below. But without further ado, let's get him out of the package. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what all the fuss is about. I don't know if there's been any fuss, but it's fun to say. Turtle logo in the background there. See you later off to the side. And we got a ton of accessories here. A ton of accessories. We got the bow and arrow, we got the hands, we got the nunchucks, we got the effects, we got the heads, we got a microphone, a lot going on in this pack. This is the biggest accessory pack I think we've seen so far in these, and I'm here for it. I'm okay with that. So let's start popping these guys out. We got the bow and arrow, old Kimberly style. We get a TV camera, head, microphone, maybe. Microphone's taped in, it looks like. Don't want that one going anywhere. Everybody loves good microphone. Pop that out. Holy cow, this is a lot of stuff. There it is. The old arrow. Come on. There's that one. Get the gun. Get that. Pop this out. Boy, this is a lot of accessories. This has got to be the biggest accessory pack that has come from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers so far in the Lightning Collection or any at all. If there's something that has more accessories than this, let me know, but I don't think so. And last one, there it is. See you later off to the side. All right, let's get down to it. And I guess we'll do ladies first like we usually do here on the channel. Get all that to the side, and we're going to start with some hands. We got two gripping hands, holding hands, whatever you want to call them on her right away. You get the old karate chop hand, and we get the fisted hand, the best of both worlds. You guys know I'm all in on a fisted hand. You got that. Reuse City, though. We've seen this with many Power Ranger female hands. Getting the most out of your molds, like we always say. You do get the Power Ranger weapon here, the old blaster gun. First time we've seen this. It's interesting they don't give this with these turtles, but they give it with the more human-looking April O'Neil. I guess straight up human. Not looking. She looks like a human. She does get the blaster gun right there. And then we get Kimberly's bow and arrow. Now, we've seen this before with the regular Lightning Collection one. I don't know if I can remember how to figure this out. I think this... I don't know, I'll have to play with it, but it does look, I think the one that originally that I had, I've since sold it, as I said, I thought it was all white. It wasn't this kind of translucent silver with the pink accents. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the one I had was all white, so there is some difference here. We definitely had this effect in the past, kind of the arrow with the little trail on the end of it, always good there. And then we get a straight up pink bow and arrow, or pink arrow, not bow and arrow, but pink arrow. And once again, was it white, I think, in the one I had? Quite possibly could have been, but it is a pink arrow for her. Then you get the April O'Neil accessories. We do get the microphone, which is really cool. That is a cool touch, cool feature. Doesn't make a lot of sense, though, because is she going to be doing any work in her Power Ranger suit? If she was in her, you know, yellow trench coat, whatever, April O'Neil, I could see it, but doesn't really fit. But once again, you get a lot of reuse out of this. You can put these with some other characters, other toy lines and things. A nice camera going on. Good sculpt on this camera. I even like the lens going on there. Very old school VHS tape. And then the microphone. Be cool to have a little logo going on there, but it doesn't have anything. But you could maybe get one made if you were so inclined. So a lot of accessories there. Then you get down to the Power Ranger figure, and it just definitely does feel like the old Ranger I had at one time. She is the Pink Ranger. She's got her Morphin belt right there, a spot to hold her weapon. Always love to be able to store accessories on here. Big butterfly joints, and gosh, maybe it's been a while, but I don't remember the butterfly joints on my Kimberly in the first Lightning Collection figure. I could be wrong. It's been a while, but big shoulder joints here, big shoulder butterfly action. Got the hula hoop at the top, got the ab crunch, not a ton of movement from that ab crunch, just a little bit there. Head goes side to side, of course the head is removable. Single jointed elbows, double jointed knees. We do have pins in these ones though. Pinless arms, but pins in the legs. And you got the ankles side to side, boot cut as well. So good articulation on these figures. Very clean. Every once in a while you will have to look at your paint apps on your Power Ranger Hasbro figures, as you will get some slop from time to time. This one seems to be very, very clean throughout, which is always a positive. Very bright, I almost said purple, bright pink color to this one against the white. It really does stand out. Definitely just makes me feel like Kimberly. This is Kimberly. I see this, oh, it's Kimberly the Power Ranger, but no, truly is April O'Neil. And so I don't keep messing up. I'm popping that head off and I'm putting April's head on. And we'll see how this ends up looking. Oh, it's a tight fit though. Can I get it on there? We got the big ball there at the top of the neck. Sometimes those fight you, but I got it in there. And I was a little worried it might be a little giraffe neck, but it sits deep inside there. I don't know if it really looks like April. I'm not familiar with the comic book crossover, so it probably does look like her from there. But I guess you could say, oh, this is April O'Neil, okay. But if you gave me just this head, I don't know, I could tell you, oh, that's April O'Neil right off the bat. But it does look pretty good, even though it's strange. It's strange. This whole thing is strange. Turtles, Power Rangers, morphing together. It's just a strange dynamic. But I'm here for it, like I said, and we're going to put her on a stand. Will she fit on a ringside collectible stand? Will she fit? And she fits like a glove. There it is. She fits perfectly right there. April O'Neil, Pink Ranger. Who'da thunk it? But here we are, 2022. That's the name of the game right now. So there's April O'Neil. Let's take a look at Michelangelo. This is another one that messes with my head again, like I said. But we get the extra hands with Michelangelo. Get two Fists of Fury, getting the most out of your molds. All these turtles came with the same hands, so you can mix and match, put the hands together, do what you want to do. Two open hands, and then you get the two gripping hands. Come in stock on the figure. Then you get his nunchucks, so very Yellow Ranger nunchucks. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. I keep thinking these should be orange, but they are yellow. Got a nice plastic chain, a little sculpting, a little color goes a long way. If it didn't have the color on here, it would look so plain Jane. It would be cool if it was like a real chain or a more plastic chain, but I understand that adds cost to the figures. But definitely looks good. It looks like the Yellow Ranger, of course, her weapon on the end. So it's kind of molding the weapons together, and then with the Power Ranger scheme colors. So interesting take there on the old nunchucks, because when you see nunchucks, I always think Michelangelo, and you probably do as well. You do have the effect piece you can put on here, and that just kind of slides on there. So it's just another whoosh through the air type thing. So you do have another effect piece, which we've seen with all of these packs so far. The Shredder one was my favorite effect piece by far. I thought that was phenomenal, looked really good. Now we get down here, we get down to Michelangelo, and it just doesn't seem like Michelangelo. This doesn't feel like Michelangelo to me. It's just so strange to see him in yellow, and then to have a yellow male, it just doesn't compute in my brain. I got to get past my biases. I got to get past this. It just, I just got to, but it just feels very, very strange. Now, we've seen this turtle body before with the other ones we've already unboxed here on the channel. So you got the same articulation. It's just painted differently. You got the yellow, the white boots, of course, the white gloves, the white hands, head removable. We have the Michelangelo head we can pop on there. Get a little shoulder movement there outside, a little bit of butterfly, but it is stopped by the shell. Hindered there. You get the nice belt with the morpher there. You get the slots here to put the nunchucks into. You get the bicep cuts, got the little gold band around the biceps. You got the double jointed elbows, and we are pinless on the elbows, of course. Hands removable. And then you get down, you got the thigh cut. You get good splits. These are ninjas, after all. They should be able to do a deep split, and they can do that right there. Then you get the pinless joints here. The double jointed knees, very, very, very tight. Boot cut and ankles. Great articulation on these figures. Just absolutely great. But yeah, Michelangelo yellow, boy, it just doesn't make sense to me. And then you get the Michelangelo head. And this is probably the best head of the bunch we've seen. This just screams Michelangelo. Obviously, the orange really helps it. Clashes a little bit color-wise when you put that orange and the yellow together, but that's his smiling face. That's Mikey's cool attitude. Just give this guy a slice of pizza and he's here for the party. But very, very interesting that he drew the short straw and became the Yellow Ranger. I don't know. I don't know how else you would do it, though. There's ways you could have done it. You could have made him look more Power Ranger with a turtle head, made it look crazy. I guess they did the best they could doing the story arc and stuff, and I guess the way they did it probably makes the most sense. But it's definitely interesting. It definitely messes with your brain, and I guess that's how a good crossover should be. And like we've said before, this isn't the first time this has happened with Ninja Turtles. If you go back to the Playmates line, they, crossed over with sports and Universal Monsters and things like that. And then you had the Playmates in later years, wrestling crossovers, Ghostbuster crossovers. So at the end of the day, it is a business, and I think Nickelodeon, that owns the Turtles IP, they're willing to talk. They're willing to have discussions. If I had enough money, I'm sure I could call up Nickelodeon and say, I want to do that Turtle Kyle Peterson crossover. They'd say, show me the money and we'll do it. That kind of seems, and there's a lot of businesses that way that'll throw their IP out there to any. And then you got some that are very protective of their IP. One thing I can tell you, I live in Iowa, and there's the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Iowa State Cyclones. The Hawkeyes put their name on about anything. They will take it. You see can openers. You see all this stuff. You don't see as much Iowa State stuff because they're more selective of their logo. That has been changing over the last few years. But there is some of that going on all over the country in any kind of business. They're scared, or there's reasons they don't want to put their logo on everything. That's just the way it goes. And it seems like the Ninja Turtle team, they're willing to talk business with anybody. And at the end of the day, it is a business. So there you go. You always got to put that business hat on. Then you get the old stand right there. We're off to the races with the stand. Look at that. Fits perfectly. They both fit perfectly on their stands. Very, very cool. That's what I'm going to say with this. Very cool. Still messes with my head a little bit on both of these. I think it just takes some time to get used to. But this will be a very cool subsection shelf display. Just one shelf, one corner of a shelf, and I'll split it off with something else. Just kind of have that turtle crossover event. Very cool. Got one more 2-pack to pick up. Playing a little that long game. I'll get to it eventually, I'm sure. And I think that's it. I haven't heard announcements of more figures coming out, but you never know. It might happen, but I think this is going to be it as far as I know. If you know any different, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe you've read the comic books. Maybe you know something different. Feel free to chime in with that. And then while you're here, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the old notification bell, follow along on social media at SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson, and ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And of course, the Patreon, where you get this video a couple of weeks ahead, basically, on the Patreon. And a lot of early content over there, some giveaways, some bonus content. And best of all, you support the channel over on the Patreon. So there it is, another Hasbro Lightning Collection Power Ranger crossover with Michelangelo and April O'Neil. And of course, I am Kyle. And I'll see you guys all real soon.